We forward to the 1940s. You've established yourself in Hollywood. You're known as the most beautiful woman in films. Well, what happened next?
War happened. It was already raging in Europe, but America was sort of neutral until December 7, 1941, and Pearl Harbor. I wanted to help. We all wanted to help.
You came up with frequency jumping, which later became known as spread spectrum. Where did the idea come from?
I met Helmut Walter at a Christmas party arranged by Fritz, my first husband, back in 1936. Walter described his invention of a torpedo that traveled below the surface, powered by hydrogen peroxide. But it was limited in range, guided by the payout of an attached wire.
Helmut Walter, the rocket engineer?
When the war broke out in Europe in 1939, and the Nazis annexed Austria, the war for me got personal. I was looking at ways to help defeat Hitler. I met George Antheil at a Hollywood party. He was an avant-garde composer, pianist, author, and inventor who had inventions already patented. I cornered him to ask him how I could enhance my upper torso.
I didn't know you were into bodybuilding.
I wanted a bigger bust, my darling. George was into the study of glandular endocrinology. He wrote a book about it. He recommended I should take glandular extracts to enlarge my bust. I never tried it. It seemed like one of those cure-all solutions. His book, The Shape of the War to Come, in which he accurately predicted the end of the war, was more successful.
A man of many talents.
I guess. From our discussion about bust enlargement, the conversation turned to the tragic news, the sinking of the city of Benares, a transport ship carrying 90 school children from England to Canada. Only 13 survived the torpedo attack. I told George about my idea of frequencies jumping, and how that could solve the problem of jamming radio-controlled torpedoes guided with one frequency.
How did you turn your idea into an invention?
I was sitting at the piano with George, and I could see how the notes were changing on the piano roll. The idea of changing notes and changing frequencies slapped me in the face.
The piano roll is the paper roll that plays the music on an automatic piano.
Yes, self-playing, or player pianos. The notes are punched on a long roll of paper. As the roll rotates, the air escapes through the hole, and the piano plays the corresponding note. George got excited, since he already worked with piano rolls for his composition titled The Ballet Mécanique. It was scored for 16-player pianos to perform at the same time. George suggested using the same concept of the punch piano rolls to keep the radio transmitter and torpedo receiver in sync.
So, how did this frequency-jumping torpedo controller work?
The transmitting signal was designed to broadcast over a band of 88 possible frequencies, one for each key of the piano keyboard. It took several months to work out the exact details of the invention. Shall I give you a short explanation?
Yes, that would be great.
I told you about the idea of the piano roll as the controlling mechanism to sync the signals. In order to prevent the torpedo from being jammed, we designed two identical ribbons of information, one in the torpedo and one in the transmitter, which would encode the frequency of transmission and effectively encrypt the signal.
I see.
To start both control ribbons simultaneously upon release of the torpedo, we used electromagnets to hold the starting pins in position on springs. Both electromagnets were connected in a circuit to the same battery, so when the torpedo launched, the circuit broke, and the pins were released in sync. But that wasn't all. No, sir. To further confound the enemy, we included 7 transmitting channels in our design, with 3 of these sending false signals.
I understand you donated the invention to the Pentagon.
We did. I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall when they were discussing an invention from an actress and musician. They thought we were going to strap a self-playing piano on the back of a torpedo. We did have support from Charles Franklin, boss Kettering, who was the inventive bigwig at General Motors, and the chairman of the National Inventors Council set up by the government to receive ideas from the public. Unfortunately, other members of the council were less than enthusiastic.
Didn't you apply for a patent along with George under your married name?
Yes, under Hedy Lamarr. Charles Kettering helped us to improve on the concept. Our patent for the secret communication system and was granted on August 11, 1942.
Did you feel bad when your invention was rejected?
It wasn't rejected, they just stamped the file top secret and shelved it. I applied to get onto the National Inventors Council and work with Kettering, but I was politely told that I would be more useful to the war effort as a film star. I sold kisses at $25,000, price of a war bond. A kiss made $7 million in one night. You might say America seemed to need my lips more than my mind. We as a society don't seem to believe that beauty and brains can reside together.
In 1997, you were finally honored by the Electronic Frontier Foundation for your great contribution to society. What did you say when they called half a century later to inform you that you were awarded the prize?
What could I say? I said, it's about time.
Recognition was long overdue and well-deserved, Hedy Lamarr. You are a woman ahead of your time and destined to be remembered for your beauty and your brains.
Thank you for your kind words. Love and kisses to you all.